All right, Rippers. Well, let me fix this here real quick. All right, Rippers. Good to see you. I hope you guys are ready for a good New Year's weekend, right? Getting some, maybe some dinner plans together, right? Some time with the family, right? Maybe even light off a few fireworks like I rock the neighborhood, except I'm probably not going to be allowed to this time because, well, the dogs are a little sensitive to it. So, and that being said, I need to get myself some medicine for him to kind of calm him down. We give him something to soothe him. I think it's trazodone or something like that. If you have a furry family out there and they don't really do too well with the fireworks and all that kind of stuff, because you got to remember, their hearing is a lot sharper than ours. And even though it doesn't sound very loud inside the house to you, they can hear all those things a whole lot better. And it's really kind of distressing to them because it confuses them and they don't like it, right? Because they can't see it and put it where it's at, and they think of it as an attack on their space. And well, it's frustrating for them, right? And it can even cause anxiety, right? We even have a little vest we can put on Benny if he needs a great big hug, but we're usually here giving him great big hugs, right? We usually play games and things like that. Those are the fun things we should be doing, getting back to the basics. So that being said, I was out today getting some things with the gift cards that I got for Christmas, which I'm very thankful for all of you out there that got me gift cards, and it's mainly family. But I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate it. I certainly put it to good use to things that I can not only share with you guys, but that I can use, right? Because that's what we need to get back to. In fact, I was just talking to my brother and my mom today because my brother's headed back on an airplane to go back home to the islands. And we got to talking about that. And, that's kind of some of the things we need to get back to. Like, we need to stop buying all this junk just because it's cool or gadgety or new and that kind of stuff, right? There's 12 different kinds of thermometers for testing your meat temperature. Like, don't you just need a thermometer, right? We should just have the old steel kind with the dial on it. That's good enough, or even just a digital one, but like 2, not 12 decisions. That's what the problem is we are absolutely wasteful. If we didn't burn up resources producing too much variety that we don't need, besides it being wasteful on using the limited resources we may have, it's also just wasteful because, people throw a lot of stuff away, right? Nothing is made to last. We should go back to the days when a Maytag appliance lasted forever, and who gives a crud if they don't go dead in 3 years just so that they can sell a new one, right? Make your money elsewise. I'm sure I think we're all smart enough out there to figure out ways to make money on producing good products, right? And that's one reason we should bring it back here to the United States. Let's start producing some solid products that last for a long time and lifelong customers that aren't just irritated because their budget gets hit every 3 years because something breaks, right? Right. So that being said, I know it's kind of a rant of mine, but we need to get back to that, right? We need to get back to enjoying more of the simpler things, right? I think that it would bring us back to a community. And I know that's not what they want. They want to keep us divided and fighting amongst ourselves and in debt. That's another big one, right? All those kind of things. But if we weren't all of those things, we might have all kinds of free times to sit there and, I don't know, communicate with each other instead of trying to compete with each other and, talk and realize that, hey, if we all get together and start talking to these people and tell them this isn't what we want to be happy, well, they might have to listen. And we might have to actually convince them to listen. But let's hope it doesn't get to that. So that being said, I learned a lesson today out there. And thank goodness, thank you, that it wasn't a bad lesson. Because it could have been. Now, I was out shopping and I was in the dollar store and I was getting something that I need. Well, when I was walking out to my car, I'll be darned if my holster didn't fall off with my everyday carry firearm in it. Now, thankfully, it's a good firearm and it didn't go off. That's a good thing. It is kind of a bummer that it got marred up a little bit. But what happened, I want to show you, because it's kind of a brain fart on my end in some way, because remember I told you I got this new holster from We Are the People holsters. Now this isn't something that's their fault necessarily, and in between there you can see there's like a little rubber bushing they put in between there, and then there's a nut on this end that's flat that you can keep from spinning, and then there's a screw on this side, right? And it sandwiches it together, and it kind of gives it a little bit of spring play with that rubber, and it's supposed to have enough tension to it, I think, to keep the screw from backing out, but don't count on that. And the reason I didn't Loctite this like I should have, I Loctite everything that I think might come apart and cause a problem, but now keep in mind, I use the blue Loctite if it's something you plan on taking back off again. The red Loctite is something you want that's more permanent, but I use the blue, and blue would have been fine on this, and I didn't do it because I was testing to see if I like my holster canted like this or straight up and down, right, for my pull. And so I didn't want to do the Loctite yet, and I've been out wearing it and kind of testing it, like we all should do. We should go out there and wear it and get accustomed with it and see how it feels, get it comfortable, find the right position for it, right, and get the right cant to it, And, well, what happened was just from putting it on and off and wearing it and stuff, I wasn't checking those to make sure that they were tight. And they backed out, and lo and behold, this whole section in the holster just fell off. Now, what it did do is as you can see, it hit on the butt and on the rear sight right there. Just a little bit. It hit the butt mainly, and you can see how it marred it up right there. That's where it hit mainly, and then it kind of just hit on there. So that's kind of a bummer. Nobody likes to mar up their guns, but this gun is a gun for use, right? It's not a safe queen or anything like that. So it's going to get wore, and that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just file I just wanted to show you guys first, but I'm going to sand that down just to take the mar out a little bit and also keep it from developing a crack, right? Because when you have a jagged, gouge or something like that in your gear, well, it could get a crack there, right? So to keep it from developing a crack, I'm going to take some 800 grit or 600 grit sandpaper and smooth that out. Or I might start with 320 and work my way up. It'll make it smooth and kind of make it look a little bit better and whatnot like that. I'm sure that the sight is fine, but I will be going out to the range to double check it's 0, right? That's a smart thing to do. Didn't hurt the night sight at all. Good tough sights on this. This is a SIG P365 XL, right? Didn't hit on the muzzle brake, so that's a good thing. But I just wanted to be, and it might have clipped this little beaver tail here a little bit, but I wanted you guys to be aware of that, that's something that you might want to do, right? Keep an eye on your holster, and if you haven't Loctited it yet, but you have it where you want it, get it Loctited. That's what I'm going to be doing now, is I'm going to Loctite that thing down so that it doesn't do that again, because that could have been real embarrassing. Now, thankfully, it happened out in the parking lot right before I was getting ready to step into my car. And I was able to recover the screws. Isn't that awesome? Now, I did lose one of the rubber washers, but these are in the plumbing section, and you just get a couple different size packs right there. And these right here are the same thing they're using, so that I can replace the rubber washer that's in there that gives it its flex. So got that at Bimart while I was there with my what was that, gift card, right? So anyway, we'll get that fixed up and everything will be handy dandy. But I just wanted you guys to know that, because it could be a bad thing. I mean, some guns sometimes aren't as drop proof as they'd like to think they are, and they have issues. So that could have gone off. It also could have dropped off in the line at the store while I was, ringing up all my stuff, and that's never a good thing, right? While it's not a big deal for most people or some people, it is for others, right? And I don't want to cause a fuss or anything like that. Of course, that wouldn't be my issue. That's more with them. But still, I like to keep things kosher, right? Keep everybody happy. And so, just be aware of that. Get that thing tightened down. So anyway, just letting you know, still a great holster. Still loving it. It's doing real good. And it'll be even better once I get it tightened up, right? Right. Also going to check my magazine holder to make sure it stays together as well. So, that being said, some of the things that I got while I was out this time with the gift certificates is I don't always spend gift certificates on things for myself, right? Sometimes I think about them for gifts. And there's a future video coming up where I'm going to be going over something like that. And I picked up some things for that. one is I picked up a nice soft case for a rifle, and you'll see why in future video. And I got and this isn't for me, but I got a nice sling. I got this at Walmart because, you know, I like to save money. I also got a nice, good, you know, reasonable sling made by Allen, again at Walmart. Holds a few shells on it. Came with the clips that go on to the little eyelets on the rifle. So that was something that I needed to get. So that was real nice that I had the card to do that. Got a couple bipods. Now these are a lot like Harris bipods, but they're Walmart brand. They're called Champion. They're actually pretty durable. They work really well. They have a nice pivot function on them, which I like. I like to be able to set the tension so I can pivot the gun to get it level. And there's a couple different sizes. There's a 6 to 9 inch size. Now you would get that if it's something that's more of, you're going to keep it on there for shooting prone, low to the ground, that kind of thing, right? You don't need a whole lot of elevation. You don't live in areas with a lot of bush or a lot of tall grasses and things like that, right? Because you want to stay low to the ground. This is something I'd put on more of a tactical style rifle too, because you don't want something that gets you up too tall, right? You can always get a rest if you need it on something else like a stick or a tree bush, or I can even show you in a future video how to make yourself a rest out of some sticks that you find out there in the wild. So I'll do a review on this when I get it put on the rifle and whatnot. And then I picked up a taller one, and for taller situations is again, like I said, when you have bushes, like in Eastern Oregon, we got this this, what is it again? Shoot, it's gonna slip my mind. I'm getting old, you guys, I'm telling you. But it's you got that scrub type bush that goes on there. If you know the name of that, put it down in the comment section. It's slipping my old geriatric mind. But it kind of smells funny, right? Juniper, right? You got that low-lying stuff. This gets you up above that, but doesn't put you up too tall, so you can still shoot prone from that. And this one starts at 9 inches off the ground to 13 inches up elevation. So these are really great. I'm telling you, I think in some ways they're better than the Harris bipods, to be honest with you. Now, of course, there's some other high-dollar bipods out there, but why do you have to do that, right? Like I said, too many choices. Keep it simple, right? That KISS theory, right? Keep it simple, stupid. Anyway, so those are the kind of things that I got as, you know, re-gifts. Now, one of those bipods I might use myself, and you'll see that in a future video too, that's coming up. Now, some other things too, right? If you're low on Band-Aids, get yourself some Band-Aids, because most of the boo-boos that you're going to encounter out there are going to be little boo-boos like that, right? Have no idea how I did that, but I did it. And I got one right there too, right? I know how I did that one. I was cutting a bun like this, and of course sawed right into my finger, right? That's just me. I'm always bleeding. If people see blood dripping around there, they always holler out. They go, "Hey, Rip, are you leaking?" And I have to take a look and go, yep, I'm leaking. So I always keep a good stock of Band-Aids out there. Again, at Walmart, $1.98. Never hurts to have Band-Aids. And this will be showing up in another video as well. So, and the reason why I got it, I also got a set of non-stick pads for a little bit bigger boo-boos, but not quite Band-Aid worthy, but not quite having to pack it in there and put a pressure dressing on, you know what I mean? So having those kind of things are always good things to have and refresh into your first aid kit, right? And that's another thing. If you got a first aid kit, trauma kit, IFAK, whatever you want to call it, whatever size it is, be sure to have a notepad in there so you can keep track of what you use. And then that way you can put it on your main things to get list when next time you go to the store to spend up something like a gift certificate or something like that. Now, of course, it wouldn't be a Rip video if I didn't get some ammo out there with it, right? So let me show you. Got some more of this Arms Corps stuff. Now what that is, this one is a kind of it's not really a coated or jacketed bullet, but it's a hollow point, and it's not lead tipped, but it is lead, but it's got that coating on it, right? And it's a 50 grain bullet. This is good practice ammo, right? Good for doing your training out there, burning it up in your AR-22, right? Really good to get. Now, I told you guys I was going to go over some of these different types of bullets so that people know what's out there, right? I got another box of this rat shot stuff, right? What this stuff is, it's like a shotgun shell for a 22. See? It's got a little blue cap on it like that holds the pellets in there, and you can see those pellets in there. And now what you have this for is for dealing with rodents and whatnot. especially in and around, because you don't want to be slinging out there some 22 rounds into the neighbors' houses and stuff like that. And this allows you to take care of those things. It's also quieter. Just don't use it in firearms that have muzzle brakes or ports in them, things like that, right? Compensators, because, well, those BBs might come back at you in your eyes, right? Now, you should be wearing eye protection, but just use it in your regular, like a rifled barrel that doesn't have anything on the end, or a revolver is a great, I use it in one of those little Ruger those Ruger, forget what they call them, Wildcats or whatever, revolvers. So that's a kind of a handy thing to have around, because rodents is something that you need to deal with because they carry disease, right? Now, I also got me a couple boxes of the, they were actually just putting them back out on the shelf because everybody's buying this stuff up. They were about $12 a box. 5.56 full metal jacket in 55 grain. This is great for using in the 20-inch rifle that we're going to get back to doing some videos to finish up that series as well. The 28 Ripper, or the 20-inch Ripper, right? Yep. So we're going to be doing that. So I got some ammo so we can do some testing in that. It's a great round for those longer barrels, right? It's a faster round. It has its purpose. Now it is something like this. Check it out. It's just a full metal jacket. Has a solid jacket all the way around it, no hollow point. It's a great little round. This is something that, you know, like the military would issue and whatnot as well. It does tend to penetrate more than it tends to open up. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about it for varmints or for home protection. That might not be the best choice, right? But it's a great round, moving very, very fast, right? And I think they say this stuff moves at, it's about 3,180 feet per second. Now that's going to be out of a 20 or 24-inch barrel according to their testing, but it's a great little round. Now, the other one is, of course, got me some green box. Whenever I see some green box come in, especially when it's only, you know, $13 a box or whatnot, which isn't great, but it's great for right now. I got me some boxes of that, right? Got me, you see that? Got 2 boxes of those and 4 boxes of those. Now, the thing is about that is it has a little green tip on it. Now, these aren't armor piercing, and I know you probably heard this in many videos. They're a penetrator, right? They do have a steel core penetrator in there. You can stick a magnet to it and it'll stick. What they're mainly meant for is getting through light armor, you know, like soft armor. They're made to get through material, light materials, things like that, to get some more penetration. They do make the military does make a armor piercing round, and you can probably find it out there on the interwebs. It also has a green tip, but it looks a little different, and it's a little different the way it's made, a little heavier steel core, and it's made for penetrating more heavier armor, and it's a little bit more effective that way, right? But the speeds on these are still up there. This one is 3,060 feet per second. That's probably out of a 20 or 24-inch barrel. So this is something good to have in your household. Now, something I just want to say, just because I'm going to say this in many videos, to the people who think that this is a round, the AR-15 is something that is super high powered, that knocks people's heads off their shoulders and things like that. Well, that's just not true. It simply wasn't designed to do that, and we'll address that in a different video. But just to give you an idea, here is the 223 or a 5.56 in the AR-15, and here is what's considered a medium hunting round for medium game. So this is what people think it's okay for us to have, and this is just shame, voodoo. But look at it. It's just far more powerful, and this is a 708 right here. It's the same thing roughly as a 308, but with a little smaller bullet on it. The tip on this is an interlock, and that means that it has a alloy lead core with a lead tip. It's primarily a hunting bullet, and they crimp it in order to help keep it from coming apart and to keep retention of some of its weight. It's great for hunting, performs really well, and that one is the whitetail, especially made for bigger deer. It has a flat back on it, so it's not a super accurate bullet like a boat tail might be, but it does have a good ogive on it, and that's the shape of the bullet, essentially, the curve of it. And I got me some of that. That stuff's coming in at 2840 feet per second. It's a great hunting round. if you don't know much about it. But again, I'd rather take my chances with the AR-15 than, you know, just saying, right? Right. Okay. So that being said, also got some 9mm for some practice coming up. Now they had some of this in there. Thought it was interesting. 70 grains 9mm, right? And the reason being is it's a metal powder, frangible, and polymer bullet that's made for indoor ranges, practice, things like that, to keep from ricochets and stuff like that. But it's also really pretty effective for home defense in the sense that it's pretty darn fast. And when it comes apart, at least my doctor friends of mine say, it makes an absolute mess that's hard to clean up and fix. So for defending your home, that's kind of what you want. It dumps its energy really fast, but it doesn't penetrate real good. So heavy winter jackets, armor, things like that, body armor, not so great maybe, but it does have its advantages. So keep that in mind. This stuff, it's in a green box because it's lead free, so it's more environmentally safe. And let's see if it says what it's moving. This stuff's moving at 1,625 feet per second. That's pretty darn good for a 9mm, I'll tell you what. But that's because the bullet's really light. So pick me up some of that as well. And then, of course, I got me because I had it. This is something to keep in mind. You'll be seeing these boxes coming up. It says Target and Training, but it also says 9mm NATO. The thing about NATO is there's NATO, then there's 9mm Luger, and then there's 9mm Parabellum. They're all different in the sense that some are slightly more powerful than the other. NATO being having the most pressure behind it. So be sure to check your firearm that you can shoot 9mm NATO in it. Most of them can. Most of them all could just shoot. It might not be something you want to do a lot because this one's moving at 1,200 feet per second. And it's pushing a 124 grain bullet. So that speed for a little bit heavier bullet than the standard 115 grain, well, you know, that's moving pretty good. So just be sure to check your manufacturer's recommendations and stuff like that. This stuff is affordable too, still coming in at about $14 a box, as well as this stuff right here. So that being said, always pick up the ammo whenever you see it out there, especially if you've got some gift certificates in, because that is something you can use, and you can use it to take other people out there and teach them how to enjoy firearms, right? Also, for this little project over here in the future videos, I picked myself up some of these. These go on the buttstock of a gun, you know, to put rounds in for hunting style rifles. I kind of like them. They're good. You know, it's not something I'd leave my rounds in because you don't want the elastic to stretch out. But I definitely like them for when I'm out there hunting so I can pull rounds out and load up a firearm, right? But you're going to like this rifle that we're building. Well, you're just going to like it because you don't have to load it that simple way, but it's a good idea to have for follow-up shots. If you run out, you can throw one in, one at a time in there. Really good thing to have. So that being said, we'll get into the last couple things. I went to the dollar store to pick these up. These are moisture wickers, right? I put these in my cars, in my safe, in storage rooms, anywhere I want moisture to be taken out of the air. It slowly absorbs into these little pellets in there, and the little black pellets are carbon in there, so it takes scents away too, right? And in the end, when this is all used up, you know when it's used up, when the bottom is nothing but water and there's no more beads on the top. And the fact that they're at the dollar store is even better because they're a lot more expensive in the other stores, and these last for quite a long time. I especially, like I say, put them in my cars and storage areas, things where I want to keep the moisture level down, right? And you just open them up, peel off the seal part, put the thing back on, and they work really great, right? They keep your stuff in good shape, keep it from rusting, right? So check them out the next time you're in your dollar store and get yourself some and figure out where you'd like to put them. Like I say, safes, things like that, really good place to put them. Now, you know, but keep them from tipping over because you don't want that water to go everywhere. I usually put like a Velcro or tape, even just duct tape on the bottom. So whatever I stick it to just keeps it from being knocked over real easy, right? Okay, so the last thing is, let's see here. Oh, we're gonna get into this in a future video. If you remember on the last video, I told you I got this quick clot gauze, right? And the reason I got it is because we're going to be doing a video on this little guy right here. This is a little IFAK that I found. It was actually a gift. a while back, but it's a nice little IFAC. It's real handy the way it attaches to things, right? And it can pull out. And we're going to go over what's in it in the form it's purchased in, and then I want you guys to help me figure out what else should be in there that's missing, right? Like one of these, at least one, right? So I think you guys will enjoy that. That'll be a fun video coming up. And I'm glad you guys sat through all of this. I really do appreciate you guys. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, especially sharing. Get the word out there. Help us grow the community. Help us get the way we believe out there, right? And help bring other people into the fold. So until next time, be safe, be secure, always be aware of your surroundings, and be getting ready for what may lie in the future. Till next time, adios or aloha. Woohoo! Love it.